All right, so for this video, we're going to talk about pressure and balance and what causes that. So as you see here, we've tripped it on our machine here, and I'm going to walk through the steps of what are the most common causes of this. And the first of which we're going to go over will be our spray guns. All right, for this, we're going to go over the PMC Extreme gun and how we're going to be checking our gun screen and cleaning that mixing chamber. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the A screen screw. So you're going to use this tool that was included to break it loose. Once you have it loose, you can usually use your hand to kind of finish loosening it up. What we're doing is we're going to be going over this screen, make sure it's clean, make sure there's no buildup on there, and if it is, we need to go ahead and clean it. So on this screen screw, we'll have to remove the screen, make sure it's good and clean. We'll probably remove this O-ring and backup ring. We'll slide that off. We'll clean it up on some acetone. And then once we have it reinstalled, we can screw it back in to the gun head. Now, because I'm going to be removing this gun head a little bit later, I'm not going to thread it in all the way. I'm going to get it in just most of the way there so we can kind of pull it out without too much resistance. So I'm actually going to go ahead and remove this R side or resin side a little bit too. I'm going to loosen it up to make sure that there's no too much friction on that mixing chamber, so it will make it a little easier to remove this gun head. Now the screen screw is the same on both sides. If you're going to be cleaning both sides, it's important to remember the R goes on the R side and the A goes on that A side when you reinstall. It's important to note this because if you do have them in backwards, you can mess up your gun with that. So the next thing we're going to do is remove the powder control tip. We're going to use our tool again here. We're going to go ahead and slot it in, and we're going to loosen that up. Then once we have this off, we'll set this to the side, and then we'll be using our other tool that's also included there to remove these two screws here on the front. We'll get these removed, set those also to the side. And then we're going to remove our gun head to access our mixing chamber. Now that we have this one out, we'll just slide the whole gun head off. We'll set that to the side, and we'll go ahead and remove the chamber. Now with this mixing chamber, we want to make sure that it's good and clear, no buildup on it, and make sure that you can actually see through it with these side ports. So you'll want to use your small drill bit, that's also included. Make sure you can drill it in. Make sure you can drill it in on both sides. And it's kind of important to note that if it only goes in a little bit, there probably is a blockage there. You want to make sure you can go in pretty far on that. And then the next thing we want to do is make sure the tip is good and clear. Drill out the tip with that larger bit. And then once you do all that, you should be able to see through it if you hold it up to some light. That's a good indicator that it's pretty clean. However, it's never 100% guaranteed that it's clean at this point. I've found in the past sometimes there's a little piece in there that you just can't get with just this drill bit. So I've found using NMP and this cooker here, I actually will submerge it in NMP, set it to about 200 degrees Fahrenheit, let it sit for about 30 minutes or so. It will soften up any kind of buildup you have in the chamber. And if you use compressed air, blow it into the tip here, it actually will blow out all the buildup and everything inside for the most part. And I usually will run this drill bit through it again as well just to be sure. But that almost is a guarantee that the chamber is pretty clean if you do this method. But then after it's good and clean, you can reinstall it in your gun. And on this one, it just sits in this little base it has. Make sure you have your O-ring installed when you do this. And then next, you want to make sure that your screen screws are out so it can slide in. Once you have it positioned, you should be able just to slide that right back into place, just like so. We'll reinstall our screws here for the head of the gun. We'll get it started, hand tight. And then we'll put the second one in. Same thing, we'll get it started. And then we'll go ahead and tighten it down with our tool here. Make sure that they're both good and tight. And then we'll install our powder control tip. Make sure that that's good. Make sure your O-ring is good on the end of that as well. Make sure there's no burrs or anything like that on any frays. We'll get this screwed in. Make sure that's good and tight. And then at this point, you can tighten down your screen screws as well. Make sure those are good and tight. Once we have all that good, we should be ready to spray. All right, and that's it.